Hi, my name is Victor Arruda, and you're listening to Rock at Night.
Are you ready? Hey, tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights live again. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. I'm not gonna talk about it, just gonna do it. Get on down if you feel up good. Get on down.
Hi, my name is Anita Stewart. I'm the managing editor of Rock at Night, and I'm here to chat with Victor Arruda, who is the lead guitarist of Hippies and Cowboys. And they're an amazing band to see if you're hanging around in Nashville at 221 Broadway at Kid Rock's establishment. Actually, it has quite a long name, but everybody there calls it Kid Rock. Kid Rock's.
Right. Exactly.
It's a steakhouse too, so it's a big restaurant with multiple floors, multiple stages. And how I found out about the place was I happened to be having one of those late nights, insomnia, and scrolling through TikTok, as most of us do. And there was this incredible band playing with a full house. And I think it was on a Sunday night too. So I was amazed at the packed house. And I was saying, who are these people? And I realized Rock at Night had covered them. They're single. And this was before Victor Arruda had joined the band as the lead guitarist. So Victor, you seem to command the stage because of your guitar skills. So tell us a little bit about how you found out about Hippies and Cowboys and how you ended up working with them, joining up with them.
Yeah. So last year, right around this time, I was with another band called the Honeymoons, which was all my friends. We moved to Nashville together, and we were playing on Broadway, and the bar shut down completely. It was called Paradise Park, and Garth Brooks bought the bar, and he's like, all right, I'm renovating the whole thing and shutting it all down. So we lost our jobs, and I went back to Nashville because I was visiting my family at the time here in North Carolina. I was like, okay, well, it's time to get on out there and not die out here, make some money and keep the music going. So I started just playing around, with different people. And I played this one show, and I met Scott, the drummer, and Kevin, the bass player for Hippies and Cowboys. And they were telling me that their band, Hippies and Cowboys, this was a different band. So they were like, yo, we need a guitar player to start playing with us all the time. And I was like, oh, how perfect, because I don't have anything going on, and I really need, a band to play with, and it'll be great. And I got in contact with Aaron, and when we met, we hit it off right away. Me and Aaron, it's like this force between us that just happens. So I started playing a couple shows with them, and we just vibed out. And from there, they asked me to join their band, and I was like, sure. I mean, that sounds great. The shows were, just starting out. So we were kind of playing Kid Rock's third floor. And I was like, yeah, this is great. Get a good band. He's a great singer. And it's cool getting to play off of him as a guitar player and having that like lead singer, lead guitar player kind of chemistry on stage. So from there, it just started growing, and I've been with them for about a year now. And, we got the main stage at Kid Rock's, which just happened out of nowhere. Aaron knows the guys there way better than I do. So he's always working and talking with them. Him and Scott are the two guys that work the business and talk to the bar owners. I just kind of show up and I play the guitar and, get to rocking. But it's just been growing ever since I linked up with them, and things have been going really well. And, here we are now playing main stage. We're going to play the New Year's show. So that's going to be pretty crazy, but it's been quite a rock and roll trip this past year.
Would you say that you guys are the house band now at Kid Rock's?
We are like the house rock and roll band, I'd say, because there's a couple other guys that are pretty they've worked their way in there. You know, they've been playing there for a couple of years now, and they've had this amazing show, and we always play after them. But there's a couple of guys like the Mance Brothers and a couple other bands. I'm, you know, I just kind of show up and I play and I do my thing. So Aaron and Scott, they're all about that stuff. But I see their shows and I know how well they are in with the family of Kid Rocks and all that stuff. But I think we're working our way in there to being one of the top bands and the top rock bands of the whole Nashville Broadway scene. Honestly, I think we are the top rock band of the Nashville Broadway scene at this point.
Kid Rock, does he ever show up there?
He has before, but it's been right before we start playing because we always play the late shift. So it's from 10 to 2, but he's always there for the 6 to 10 band. So him and his like whole posse will just be chilling up in the VIP booth, throwing money at the 6 to 10 band. Cause that's the band that, you know, he knows and they've been there for a long time. So they got that slot. But as soon as we get up there, you know, we got the whole changeover. And then by that time he's already gone. So, and, you know, it makes me a little nervous sometimes when he's there. Cause I'm like, you know, it's Kid Rock. Hopefully he doesn't like stop the show and tell us like, you know, you boys aren't playing this right or something like that, you know? So I don't know. I heard he's going to be at the New Year's show. So we got to kind of buckle down and learn a couple of Kid Rock songs so he doesn't fire us or something.
Would you say that most of the crowd that comes in there, like on a Sunday night when it's jam packed, would you say that most of them are employees there in Nashville, other musicians, bartenders? So they've got a Sunday night off, so they're coming to see you, but they're also bringing their friends. Do you think that's kind of the scene there on a Sunday?
Not at all. It is just the most random people you'll ever meet in the world from all over the United States, all over the world. You get the most random people. And I'm like, how is there just so many people that come out to, you know, Nashville, Broadway, and it's never the same. It's never the same. Even on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I see some locals, you know, but I feel like a lot of the locals in Nashville, they avoid Broadway because it is like tourist central and it's a mess. Everyone's going crazy. And the locals, they like to go to the bars in like East Nashville where not a lot of the tourists go, so they can hang out, relax, and, you know, bring the friends out, meet up with the friends. And yeah, it's a whole tourist scene out there on Broadway. So it's a lot of different people.
So you guys have a whole following on this chat in the chat room on TikTok, which is really cool because that's, of course, I started to ask questions. I found out about the band. I looked on Rock at Night. I went through our search to see who we had covered and saw that I had covered the band before you joined them. And then, of course, you're getting the whole time, everybody's forming like little cliques in this chat room, which is really cool. But you're getting like proposals of marriage and all kinds of things in the chat room. And I like to think that there's people that are in the music industry that are also watching to see what you guys are doing on stage. So that's another positive thing. But you have like probably at times it can go from 200 all the way up to a couple thousand, which is like a whole other audience just watching the live feed on TikTok.
Yeah.
So
it's been amazing and really discovering this TikTok game. You know, I had a video that went viral like 2 years ago on TikTok, which is me doing like, you know, some Zeppelin song, and it got me the followers. And then out of nowhere, I was just playing the shows with the Hippies and Cowboys. And I was like, oh, I wonder what will happen if I just went live on TikTok, and boom, like, I was like, oh man, this is like a gold mine right here. There's so many people like hopping in because TikTok is pretty popular now. And I've met so many great people on there, fans, friends, you know, business, like with guitar companies. I'm working with MXR pedals and Dunlop. They're great guys. Now we're all friends and stuff, but it's just been growing so much. And I'm so grateful for all the people we've gotten to meet on there. And it's really all about building that community. And I always see the same people hopping on there. And it's great to talk to them after the show. You know, I'll hop on the TikTok live and me and Aaron will just talk to the people. And it really gave us a chance to connect with a whole different audience because not everybody is partying. Like at Kid Rocks, there's a lot of partiers and they're there for the party, and the people on TikTok are there for us, the band and the music, and they like to see what's happening at the show. But it's one of those things where we connect with them more on a band to fan level, and even just a human to human level, musical connection level, which is, I think, is so important nowadays, and a lot of people haven't really discovered this TikTok game yet. And who knows what's going to happen to TikTok? I've been hearing all these rumors and stuff, but for now it's been amazing. And I hope to continue on that and make so many new friends and connections. And, who knows, when we start touring, I hope to actually meet these people in person and, connect with them there. So I'm super grateful for the whole TikTok game.
There's a lot of people that, spend a lot of time talking about how bad TikTok is. But when I go on there, I like to try to find the positive things. And of course, music, which is one of my loves, is always something I'm going to be looking at on there. Now, do you have you mentioned a couple companies. Do you have endorsements with these companies at this time?
I only have one right now, which is MXR and Dunlop. And it's like an artist endorsement. It isn't really anything like that. They put me on a couple of videos here and there. I think this year things are really going to start picking up, especially with like MXR and Dunlop. I want to work with them more, make videos with them. And I'm trying to work on a guitar endorsement right now. I really want Gibson, so I'm just I don't want to be that guy that just goes in there and asks for like, please endorse me. I'm the kind of guy that I'm just going to play my rock and roll and let the guitar and the music do the talking, and hopefully I can, get the attention of Gibson or a company like that I love, and I'd love to be a part of. So I'm just kind of playing it easy and seeing what comes. And I think sometimes that way the connection is just stronger because they really want me to be a part of their family. So I'm kind of just taking it as it comes,
Now let's roll a little bit backwards, heading back to when you first started in music. Begin at the beginning, as they say.
Sure.
How did you know that you had this incredible love of music? Did it start in church, at home? And what did you play first?
My first instrument was piano when I was really young. Like I moved from Brazil to America. So I was born in Brazil. And when I moved to America, my parents, they would just put me in a bunch of stuff like soccer and, they put me in piano lessons at an early age, like third grade. And so I just remember playing the piano, but I didn't really think much of it. I was like, oh, piano class, here we go. And then as a third, fourth grader, I'm just sitting there like, let's get this over with. And the recitals too, I'd be like so nervous. I'm like, oh, I have to play in front of all these people with this piano. And then I was in band in sixth grade. For some reason, I chose the clarinet because I was like, oh yeah, I want to play like all this Legend of Zelda stuff on the clarinet. And a little nerd back in the day. And then as soon as like seventh grade hit, all this music came out. And it was really good music like Green Day, American Idiot, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stadium Arcade. It was just all playing on the radio, and I didn't really have anyone to really show me these bands, because I was kind of like, I just had my friends and my mom and dad, they're Brazilian. So they listened to the Brazilian music and what was popular at the time. I just had to find it on the radio. So I started hearing all these songs. And me and my friends were like, man, what band is this? And the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I remember, just blew my mind. I was like, that is a great sound. That is the sound of a guitar right there. And, you hear Can't Stop. And then Danny California too. Danny California was big on the radio. And that solo at the end, I was like, oh man, that sounds amazing. Like, what is that? And I remember I had a friend and she was like a Brazilian as well. So our families were connected and she was doing bass lessons and she would show me all the cool stuff like Led Zeppelin, Van Halen. I was like, okay, all these cool bands, like I want to be a part of this. So I asked for a guitar for that, for my birthday in seventh grade. And I got this little like Walmart Stratocaster with an amp. I was like, all right, plug me in, let's go. And, from there, I just started watching videos on YouTube and trying to learn those songs. And then I asked my parents for guitar lessons from the same teacher that my friend had. And from there, I just started learning. And then Guitar Hero came out. And I was like, Mom, can I get Guitar Hero? Because I think this will make me better at guitar. It totally didn't. But what it did do was it inspired a whole generation of kids to listen to rock and roll again, because it's music that we would have never known about unless we were having fun playing a video game that was like all about the guitar, So from there, I learned about Black Sabbath, like Guns N' Roses. That was a band that really did it for me at that early stage. I was like, man, this is everything I want. Just ripping guitars, crazy rock songs, and just exciting, rock and roll music. And I just loved all their songs. So from there, I just really hit it off with the Guns N' Roses. And then came the Van Halen phase, the Ozzy Osbourne, Randy Rhoads phase. And I just started backtracking from there to like, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page, Zeppelin, and then all the 60s stuff like the Beatles. And that's kind of where I've been now. I really enjoy that era of music, which is the late 60s, early 70s, and the guitar playing from that era. But, I was a guitar nerd. I became a guitar nerd at that point. So I also went like the shred route. I was like, all right, if I'm going to do this rock thing, I got to learn how to shred. So I would sit there in my room and, practice picking like super fast. And I'm not like super precise and super fast picking, but those years of like forcing myself to do it, I developed like my technique for it. And one of those main guys that I loved was Paul Gilbert, because you had like the three big shred lords, which was like Paul Gilbert, Joe Satriani, and Steve Vai. So I would listen to those guys. I'm like, these are the guys. But my favorite was always Paul Gilbert, because he just had the most bluesy, simple, and his picking was great. Steve Vai was a little out there. I was like, yeah, there's no way I can learn any of this, because I didn't have a whammy bar. I was playing like a Les Paul. And Satriani too, he does all this whammy bar stuff. I was like, oh man, I can't do it. Van Halen, I made my way through without a whammy bar, but I really gravitated towards Paul Gilbert. And that's when I found his online lessons. So I'd moved to North Carolina at this point, and I was just bored in my room. I didn't have any friends. So that's when I really dug in, and I found Paul Gilbert online, and he was giving out online guitar lessons. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm going to sign up for this. And so I signed up for it, and I started doing this online lessons with him, and we would send videos back and forth. And he really liked me a lot. Because I'd send him cool videos of me just shredding it up and stuff. And then from there, I went to his camp, because he had this guitar, the Great Guitar Escape. And it was this cool camp that you get to go to like New York and hang out, meet Paul Gilbert and a bunch of great guitar instructors that I was all about. And from there, I made a pretty good impression on Paul, because I'm just a cool, chill guy. I'm not going to go up to him and be like, Paul, I love you. You're the best guitar player ever. You teach me everything. Please sign my guitar. I'm I'm just going to keep it chill. I don't want to be that guy. And I just want to play my guitar and learn and, respect the artists. I know that artists, everyone there is just going crazy over them. But me and Paul really hit it off. And during his lessons, he's like, so what do you want to learn? Because I took a private lesson with him, and I honestly didn't even know what I wanted to learn. I was like, can we just jam? I just want to like jam out with you and like, vibe out. And I think from there he understood like, my knowledge of the guitar, whereas like, I could ask you 1,000,001 questions about what's this lick, what's that lick. But I started coming from more of a place of like trying to develop my own sound. And you do that more, the more you play, the more you just jam, the more you release your licks and your spirit of the guitar, instead of sitting there and being like, how do you pick this? Like, is it up, down, down, up, down? And that stuff kind of like just makes me bored. I'm like, yeah, I don't really care about down, up, down, down, up, down, all this technical stuff. I'm like, man, listen to like Jimi Hendrix. Do you think he ever cared about that stuff? He is releasing his spirit. So I made a pretty good impression on Paul with that. And from there, the guitar has just been, it's just been going. It's just been growing from there.
Now, you were the tour manager for Paul Gilbert, who was voted actually one of the best shredders in existence. How did it go from like being kind of a student of his, basically an apprentice, and then ended up being like a tour manager? How did and what exactly were also what exactly was a job description for you? Like, what did you do as a tour manager?
Sure. So I wasn't the official tour manager, but I was a tour manager assistant. So like, but I was pretty much like doing everything a tour manager would do, because you're helping the tour manager get stuff done. But at this point in my life, I went to college because my band had just broken up with me and my brother plays bass. So we started this band. We did this mini tour of the United States. Bo from True Villains, he lives in Nashville. He was the singer of our band, but we kind of split off. He moved to Nashville. We were still in North Carolina. So I went back to school. I graduated with a sound production degree. And I was like, man, I really need an internship. And I started reaching out to studios, and I was like, man, this kind of sucks. Like, I don't really want to do like studio work like that. I don't want to be like a, studio nerd. It's just not who I am. But I need to do something with sound. So I kind of made my way into, I emailed Paul. I was like, Paul, like, if you need any help like this summer with anything, let me know. I would love to come out there and just get some internship credit so I can graduate college. And he's like, yeah, I'm actually going on tour. You want to help me out? And I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect, because I don't have to do anything. Like, I don't have to be like a studio slave going around getting coffee for everybody. I can just be on the road and travel with Paul Gilbert. And I was like, yep, I'm coming with you. So doing that was great. And I learned a lot about, how to really be on the road and what it takes to make all the ends meet. And I got paired up with Andy Bree, and he was the road manager. So it was great. He's like one of my best friends now. And we really just had to hit it off every day. When I got there, I don't know how, but it was just like completely just throw him in the water and try to swim, and it was like that for me and Andy, because it's like, all right, here's all the merch, do it. And it's like, there's no systems and play or anything. So we really just had to do it from scratch. And being away from the guitar too, it's like I took some time away from playing guitar to really just experience life and do other things at this point. And it was a great experience because I got to connect more with people instead of being stuck in my room practicing all day. It was like out and about, talking with people, being on the road too. I was selling merchandise. So that was my main task on the US tour, was take care of the merchandise. So I was like selling everything, making a system on spreadsheets. I'm like, my brain is like, I was like, wow, I'm using spreadsheets right now. This is great, because I'm horrible with math, but it really helped me like, push this analytical, statistical side of my brain out. And from there, they hired me, and then the whole time I'm helping Andy load gear. We're emailing all like the venues, making sure all the stuff, the rider is right. You got the prosciutto on there, because, if the prosciutto isn't on there, like it's going to be bad, so you got to email every place, make sure the artists get everything they want, while me and Andy are sitting there like, cool, well, all we got is beer, so we're gonna make this work. But then Paul asked me he hired me for the next tour, because there I was just doing an internship. So I graduated after that summer of touring with Paul, and he hired me for the Europe tour, which is still, I was doing merchandise, emailing venues, but making sure what's it called, Master Tour is an app, and you got to update it with everything. So like the guys in the same bus as us know exactly what's happening during the day, so it's like a organizational kind of thing. So we're sitting there updating everything, emailing venues. You got to like put everything in this timeline. So it's like, okay, wake up at 12, bus, hit the bus at 12:30, make it to the city, next city at like 2, load gear out of the trailer, lunch, and dinner at 6, sound check, and then show at 8. You know, you just got to make sure everything is just ready for these artists, because they need to know it all. So when they're out and about, walking around, you know, getting food at their restaurant, while me and Andy are sitting there loading gear and doing all this stuff, you know, they got to make sure everything is organized for them. And that's
it's very similar to like political campaigns. It's the same thing. It's, you know, creating a spreadsheet of exactly, you know, your day, keeping a calendar, keeping a time frame. And that is probably the essence of that kind of coordination, because everybody's got to work together on that same thing, you know?
You got to keep everybody organized, and then so they know what's happening, you know what's happening, and that makes a successful tour happen, you know, and it makes the communication easier. And that's the most important part. So everybody's not at each other's throats. Everybody can do their own thing and get back on time and have a great show, you know. And after the Europe tour, I became front of house sound engineer for Paul, because I told him, like, hey, I can do sound, you know. And I did front of house in Asia, which was amazing. I loved it. And I love, you know, I was like, oh, finally, I don't have to sell merch. I can just do front of house, which is way funner. And then after that, you know, COVID hit. So everything stopped, and I moved to Nashville. And that was my whole Paul Gilbert experience right there. But I go and help out at his camp still, where I'm just an assistant, like help Paul carry his guitar gear from this interview to that interview. And then, you know, I'll go to NAMM sometimes, and then just pretty much helping with the stuff, you know, that Paul doesn't need to worry about. I can just carry his stuff around. But yeah, that was pretty much my whole Paul experience. And, you know, I've definitely now gone on to another phase of my life, but it was a wonderful, and I've made a great connection with Paul. He's one of my good friends now, and all the guys in the bands are, and I'm so grateful for everything they allowed me to, you know, do and be a part of. And they're some of the best guys I've ever met. So
during COVID, NAMM had everything online, and we at Rocket Night were able to participate because so many of the you know, like the conference portions were online, and you could just go right into them, just like a Zoom call. And it was really interesting to be there. Of course, I don't think there was I don't think there was much of a charge for it, but now there is if you're doing it remotely. So, but I plan on going again, of course. But the other thing so you were a tour manager, and you've done the sound, and you've done the merch. It kind of showed you about the touring. What's happening now with Hippies and Cowboys? Are you planning to tour? Is the whole band planning to put out an album?
So we have a whole plan for this new year, and we have a whole release plan. So we have a whole album ready to be released, but you got to do it, you know, strategically, so it doesn't flop on you, because things are different nowadays. So we're going to release singles this whole year, and the album will be coming out at the end of the year. So this whole time we're just going to be releasing and building content, so we can really, you know, have a good first album and not just release it and it falls down. It's like, all right, time to make a bunch of new songs, and hopefully this one will hit. You know, you got to play your cards right nowadays. But we have a bunch of songs ready for release, and we're going to keep hitting the Kid Rocks and the TikTok live stream, building up our audience before we go on tour and do anything big. We're not really a band that's kind of like the DIY, like, okay, everyone, we booked this tour, let's go on out and have some fun and play to, like, you know, 10 people each show. We're more kind of like, if we're going to go on tour, let's make this thing, like, you know, work out well for us. Let's have some people there. And so, you know, we really just got to build up our audience at this point. And the TikTok live is helping out so much. Kid Rocks is helping out so much. And we get paid really well to play there now. So we do little runs here and there. We'll go to Florida, we'll go to like Ohio, we'll go up to Detroit. We're coming here to North Carolina. So we do these little spurts of, go here, play, get paid, come back. But what we're really hoping is we're working with a couple people here. They're investors. We're really just hoping to hop on an opening act for some band out there is what we really are shooting for. And I think would be best for us is to open up for, a great band like the Black Crowes or like something like that. Or, these smaller bands too that are out there like, like Tyler Bryan and the Shakedowns or.
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
Yeah. We really just want to team up with a great group and just kind of open up their shows and grow from there. I think that's the smartest way to do it instead of, suffering and spending all your money and driving around and playing a couple of people at a little bar. You got to play it smart nowadays. And that's kind of our whole thing, work smarter, not harder. So the whole TikTok, building an audience, making sure our social media is, looking good so that when these companies actually need an opening band, they can see that we'll be able to draw a crowd out. And, we're not just there to receive from the band we're opening up for, but we're there to also give to, they would want to have us open up for them is what we're kind of trying.
I think that's a formula that people are using is the social networks plus the release of singles a little bit at a time, but not the whole thing. You're releasing like maybe 3 or 4 and then boom, the album comes out. That's working for a lot of people. And of course, almost everybody's connected to their music from easy access of being able to get to the singles. Like everybody's got Apple Music or Spotify or,
Right.
one of those apps. So that works perfectly. Actually, you guys were just down here. I'm in Tampa. I think you guys came to Tampa for, I don't know if you were visiting or playing or what, but
yeah, we took a little vacation to visit one of our friends and she let us just hang out and take a little break because we've been playing all year long. So, our friend was like, hey, come on down and relax over here in Tampa for a little bit. So me and Aaron, we were like, all right, time to ball out in Florida. We got ourselves this really nice muscle car and we're just driving around, eating some good food, sitting on the beach, relaxing. And I think it's important, to take some time off from when you're playing all these shows and you're just partying with the people and you get a little like, your brain gets a little burnt out sometimes. And, music, it's one of those things. It's good to be fresh, good to be inspired, and good to feel good about coming back. And like when you come back to the scene, you're like, yeah, here we go. Let's hit it again and rock out even harder instead of getting burnt out. So
rejuvenated is and everybody needs that healing space, especially when you're the center of attention for night after night with all the people and all those energies that can break you down after a while. So you need to have playtime too,
It's important. And, we're all such cool friends. Everybody understands. And, we all work hard and help each other out. So it's a great group to be a part of because, we get to do what we love and our friendship is great. And I think we're in a really unique spot right now.
What does your family think about your chosen career path?
And they're fine with it. They know that I love guitar and that I'm happy. And as long as I'm chasing down my dreams, they love it. They love seeing me play. They always log into the TikTok lives to watch me at night. And it's been amazing. Their support is always amazing. My dad, he's always helped me out when I was younger with gear, and my grandma bought me my first Gibson when I graduated high school. They've always been super supportive, and I'm grateful to have a family that enjoys watching me play guitar and live my life, and a lot of them wanted to be musicians, in my family, because we are all musical, but a lot of them just couldn't do it because we're from Brazil. My whole family immigrated here, so they had to work really hard to just make ends meet and raise the kids. But I think, having someone in the family that chases after their dreams, they really just enjoy seeing that. And it inspires everyone in the family. It's like you can chase your dreams and go after what you want over here, because they really gave us that opportunity from working hard and giving us this life where we have a chance to really go after something. So, just them being able to watch me do my thing is good enough for them. They're happy and I'm happy. So they love it.
Now we're getting towards the end of our time, but I did want to ask this question. Where do you see yourself, like, say, 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I see us headlining all over the world, playing guitar every day, making music in the beautiful studio in my house every day. And I just want to be a creator and a performer, and I want to just explore music more and more and have so much knowledge of music and creations. I just want to create as much as possible. Kind of like the Beatles, like Sergeant Pepper's. I want to write a Sergeant Pepper's. I want to write like all these great songs with all my friends and just be successful and be able to go out, play shows as the Hippies and Cowboys or as Calico Mantra, and really just have a community, a huge community, headlining, touring, and making a difference in the world with our music is truly all I could ever ask for. Be successful and be an image in this world for guitar as well. It's one of my dreams, is to just, be out there and be able to influence a younger generation or even an older generation. It's like influence people with music that, this is what happiness and life and love and creativeness, and that's all I could ever ask for, is just building that bond with everyone and having just a huge community of people that loves music, and we can all connect together.
Well, thank you so much. I think we'll end it there. It was a pleasure talking to you. And definitely, when's the next night you'll be playing?
So I'll be heading back to Nashville on the 29th, and we are playing the New Year's show at Kid Rock's from 10 to 2. So tune in on New Year's if y'all want to see the band playing. And when the ball drops in Nashville, we'll be there. We'll be putting on our own party. So if y'all need someone to put on the TV, and instead of watching, all the news channels, come watch the Hippies and Cowboys on TikTok.
And that's all anybody ever has to do. They just need to go to their TikTok account. They can go, you usually have the live feed up on your phone. And then, so that would be the Flying V 3 times, the Flying VVV. Yep. And the other account is Hippies and Cowboys. So if you're scrolling through TikTok, the live feed should be on both of those phones. But Victor, you have a problem with your phone because sometimes it gets too hot. I commented in the chat. I go, because sometimes we'll be watching you and it'll go boop and it's off, Yeah. So then what I do when that happens is I just scroll to Hippies and Cowboys and I watch from there. So when you have those two phones on, if one goes, the other one's always going. So
there's always about the connection over there. Maybe it might just be my phone too. I got the iPhone 13, but I think it's time for an upgrade here because something's going on.
Well, if they
time about that too.
Yeah, if they get too hot, they'll actually shut off.
Really?
So that's probably what's happening, And if you're if you're playing them, for 2 hours, 3 hours, that's a lot of energy going through that phone. So I know mine's shut off from that. So, but anyway, thank you so much. And this is going to be up at Rocket Night and rocketnight.com. And of course, all I need is file photos from you and we'll be all set. And so you can email those to Anita@rocketnight.com.
Okay.
And we'll get everything up. But I'm wishing you a happy new year. And it's such a pleasure to see someone going after their dreams. So
thank you, Anita.
I'm in the background just giving you a thumbs up every time I see you guys play. So
for your support and your energy. And hey, hopefully we'll get to perform for you live one day, like face to face. And
I'm
we'll
gonna get up there.
Yeah, get up there and rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up there to Kid Rocks for sure. I am. All right.
Happy New Year's.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
You're listening to Rock at Night.
The introductory song, Get On Down, is from blues artist Billy Bass Alford. Look for his music at ReverbNation.com.